Hi everyone and good morning. I'm sorry I'm running a little bit late and I look like I'm running on 3 hours of sleep because I am. Um, Today we are going to dive into paid ads. Just a few quick growth hacks that I have over on that end. Um, First, I have a few quick announcements. Let's see. Uh, what's Oh, there we go. Sorry, I believe it wasn't actually going live. Give me 1 second just to check this. This is playing for you guys. Oh. Let's see. Okay, it is playing live for you. Excellent. So, we're going to dive into paid ads. A few things quick first to start off. One, keep in mind that this is recorded and it lives on YouTube. So if you have any questions that are very granular and in-depth about your company, we do have live Q&A sessions that are private group sessions with like a small group of the Molo9 community. Those are a better place to ask like more granular questions that are dive a little bit more in detail into your company. If you have, you want to keep your questions high level, so any questions you have that like don't reveal too much about your company. I mean, talking about the industry and the business model, that won't really cause you, give you any source of concern with competitors viewing this later, but maybe diving into like exact KPIs or exact things along those lines, you might want to be, save those for a private group session. Along these same lines, I may discuss during the videos from time to time um, if either a client that I worked with, the name of the client, or I discuss specific details about the project I worked on, but I cannot do both as this would be a breach of contract with MD9 clients. Um, Lastly, if you do not know who I am, I'm just going to go over that really quick so that uh, you know what types of questions you can ask. Um, this is lagged because we do have some people who are hearing impaired in the Molo9 community, so it lags the recording by a few seconds. So if you want to type your questions in like as they pop up, and then as I take a break between answering the last question, then I'll jump over to look at what your question was and answer it. Don't feel bad that you need to like wait until I finish answering something to start asking your question, because I won't see it for another 8 seconds afterwards. All right, so I specialize in something called growth hacking, and more specifically in something called blitzscaling. Blitzscaling, it basically means that we grow companies really, really fast. So, um, for example, I've grown a fashion company to I've grown their sales by 4,200% in 9 weeks. 9 weeks, they had launched and hadn't really seen any growth in their first 5 weeks, and then they started working with me, and they saw 4,200% growth in a matter of 9 weeks. We had tried continental expansion as well. I do travel quite a bit, and we have houses in the US and Israel, so doing international, and I've lived in a few countries in Europe for half a decade. So international expansion type projects are pretty easy for me just based on sharing things with my personal network. Um, and as of now, the fastest I've grown a company is from idea on paper to more than 108 million in sales in less than 5 years. So I'm very good with those types of rapid growth questions, how to get 10x growth, those types of strategies. If you're a like local small mom and pop like donut store, I might have a few growth hacks that I could share with you, but with regards to like geo-specific smaller companies that are looking for just like a little bit of growth, that's not necessarily my forte. There are a lot of very talented marketing agency owners that use Molo9 that are in the Molo9 Facebook group. You can ask questions in there and in the Telegram group. The Telegram group tends to actually be more active than the Facebook group. And if you have any questions that are specific that I can't answer, one of them will be able to chime in and answer it pretty quick. Okay, so now for today's topic. The first thing I want to discuss is that a lot of people think when I say paid ads, they think the only places to buy ads are on Facebook and Google, and this is actually not the case. There are more than 120 different customer acquisition channels. There are, I don't know, like 30, 40, 50 different mediums through which you can buy paid ads. Sometimes, if you're in a very specific niche, looking for bloggers and paying them for a featured review or paying for ad space on their website can be much more fruitful than Facebook or Google ads. The reason that people like to buy ads on Facebook, Google, Instagram, LinkedIn, a few others, YouTube, is because it's very easy to refine exactly who you're targeting. So if you're on one of those platforms that has like millions of people, then it's very easy for you to say, I only want this ad to be seen by people in this age range, in this like income bracket, in these geographic locations, who have these hobbies. And so that's why people tend to favor Facebook, Google when buying ads. But you're not always going to get necessarily the best ROI, return on investment, with that type of with ads on those two channels. So if you are in a specific niche, for example, let's say that you are selling. We have someone in the Molo9 community who sells solutions for people trying to conquer alcoholism. That's a very specific problem that a very specific small group of people have. So for that type of company, I would recommend looking at more niche blogs, like seeing if there are blogs that are run by people who have siblings or relatives that suffer from this illness, and blogs where they cover like the strategies they've used. I would ask if you could get a feature on their site. That would be a perfect one. There are also what are they called? The Reddit forums. There's very specific subreddits that cover very niche topics. I have a few friends who are growth hackers out in Silicon Valley in Thailand, and that's their favorite acquisition channel, is actually buying ad space on subreddits, because it's a very targeted group of people. In like generally speaking, the place to look a good fact sheet to look at when deciding which platform to go to based on who you want to target, or your target market, is Pew Research Center. They have a breakdown of who uses which social media platforms by age, gender, race, income, education, community, and they also have like which social media platforms are most common, and you can splice and dice their data in 1,000 different ways. It's amazing. By men, women, yeah, I already said all this, their income bracket, which I think is really great chart to look at. There are more out there like this. This is just usually the one I start with if I need a quick refresher on which channel we should be buying paid ads on. Okay, the next thing to look at is what's it called? I'm sorry, I'm going to be lost for words a few times today. This tends to happen when I only have 3 hours of sleep. I'm getting to the age where I should stop pulling all-nighters for work. Just don't bounce back like I used to. Oh, okay, it's called ad fatigue. So when you run paid ads, on some channels you're allowed to run variations of the same ad. So you can have an ad set where you have the advertisement run with like 5 different images, 5 different captions, all the same image with 5 different captions, or all the same image with all the same caption and different slogans. There are a lot of different ways that you can test variants for paid ads to see what people like best. This is also a great way to test using paid ads on like something like Facebook or Google. That's a great way to test slogans and one line, like your elevator pitch, to see which one gets the most people clicking. That's a very easy way to test like what's going to be the most effective slogan for you. The other thing to keep in mind is there's something called ad fatigue. So there may be people in your target market who would be interested in your product, but they don't resonate with a certain image or video that you use in your ad. So they see it and they click away. So what you want to do over time is you want to cycle the images that you use, you want to cycle the captions that you use and the slogans that you use, just to see if you can get all of your target market converted from one channel. You also want to keep in mind that there are, I've said this a bunch of times, there are more than 120 different customer acquisition channels. So if you notice that you're getting a lot of people coming from one channel to your website and they're buying, and then suddenly it starts to, or not suddenly, gradually it starts to drop over time, you may have rinsed that channel. So you think of like a hose connected to a pipe that has mud in it, and you want to get all of the mud out of that pipe and into a bucket. I'm sorry to compare your customers to mud, but just this is the easiest image I found to explain this. After a set amount of time, you'll find that putting the hose up to that tube and having it push mud into the bucket, it's not getting you as much mud. It's only getting you like a speck of dirt every 2 hours. It's not worth it to connect that hose to get one speck of dirt every 2 hours. So when you stop noticing that chunks of mud are coming out of the tube and into your bucket, and you start to notice it's like diminishing to a point where it's not financially worth it, it's increasing your cost of acquisition, you want to rotate your ad sets to see if changing the images and captions and things like that won't get you more people coming from that channel, rinsing that channel, getting more people coming from that channel to your site. And if even rotating the imagery and the captions that you're using in your ads is not working, it's time to move to a new channel. That does not mean that the channel you were on should be blacklisted with a black X. It means that you should just let it sit for maybe like a few months to a year while you try other channels. There's a list, where is it? There we go. Acquisition channels. I did not publish this yet. I'll have to publish this. Let me see if someone else doesn't have something similar published yet. They do not. No. Okay. Let me just write down a note so I know to publish this for you guys. Okay. So there are more than 120 different customer acquisition channels that you can use if you start to notice that one is not working. We focus a lot on getting you to rank number one for, at Molo9, we focus a lot on getting you to rank number one for your company name first, because SEO tends to be one of those channels that just, I mean, anyone can type anything into a Google search bar to find anything they want. And ideally, when they're searching for things that indicate that they're interested in making a purchasing decision within your niche, you would love to be able to rank at the top in their search, in their searches. You want to be in one of the top 3. So I would at all times, I would be keeping SEO in the back of your mind while you look at the other 119 channels. Okay, so what else is there? Oh, when you start running paid ads, if you are not seeing people coming to your site and buying within, I don't know, the first couple of days, um, first like week or two, then there's something is wrong, and you should not just keep running ads thinking that eventually someone's going to come. That's like hanging out with an abusive friend. It's just a bad idea. You just don't do it. They're mean to you twice. Okay, give them space to work out whatever crap they're going through. A channel is not working for you for 2 weeks. Okay, then something's not working. You need to take a step back, give it space, figure out why it's not working. That's why with Molo9 we do have that section where we show you how to optimize your funnel, because sometimes it's something's wrong with your website. So your website, you want to think of it. The mistake a lot of people make is they think of it like it's their one chance to blurt out as much information as possible. That's not a good idea. Your website, you want to think of it like a dating profile. And your goal by the time somebody reads, your goal is first to get people to read your entire dating profile. And then your goal is to get people to like commit to something by the time they read your dating profile. Like, yeah, this is awesome. I definitely want to learn more about this person. Yes, this is awesome. I definitely want to learn more about this company. So with your paid ads, if you're running paid ads on a channel, you're not seeing anyone come through, like no one's clicking, okay, it's a problem with your ads, the way that the image, the copy, if people are clicking and not completing your desired action, they're not signing up for your email list, they're not sorry. I promise I will not do another live Q&A after all-nighter. Okay, they're not signing up for your email list, they're not committing to buying something from you, then there's something wrong with either the way that you're communicating your value proposition on your website. Like either you're telling them, hey, click here and you're going to see some amazing tricks to get green tea to cure everything. Then they go to your website and you're actually selling jewelry. Okay, that's kind of like, what the heck? It's you catfish them. You don't want to catfish people. You want to be very clear with what they should expect when they click on the ad and come to your website. I'm just going to turn this on here for a second because I actually have to. Okay. Sorry about that. In addition to running on only 3 hours of sleep, it's April in Florida, which means my allergies are at a 10 out of 10. This is why I try to avoid the camera in March and April every year. All right. So, where were we? Oh, okay. So if people are clicking your ad, they come to your site and they're not completing whatever the call to action is, either purchasing something, signing up for something, then there's either a disconnect between what you have in your advertisement and what you're showing on your site. A trick to use is whatever colors are on your website, like your company colors, use those colors in your imagery on your ad. So as soon as somebody comes from the ad to the website, there's something very obviously apparent. If you have a one-line slogan at the top of your site, maybe use that in your ad somewhere, in the copy somewhere. So when they come, it's like, okay, yeah, these two things match, and now they're just getting more information. I know you might think, oh my God, that's redundant. It's okay. It's literally somebody got a postcard from you and now they're showing up and the house looks like it did on the postcard. That's what they want to see. Next, if you have those two things set up and people are clicking on the ad but they're still not completing whatever the call to action is on the site, you have to ask yourself if the call to action is a little bit too big. For example, with Molo9, we get a few thousand people a week coming to the site, and before we made some changes, we noticed that a lot of people weren't clicking on the call to action, but the call to action that we had was, hey, welcome to our site, buy a $300 monthly subscription. And that was like, ooh. So we added in a $32 2-day pass, and we've also added in an email lead magnet at the bottom where people can drop their email in to get the newsletter and get access to videos like this. And with those two things, it's somebody comes to the site, okay, and they don't necessarily want the $32 thing, but they do want to drop their email in and see what kind of information we give to them. So if you have something that's a little bit more, like financially it's a little bit more, then I would recommend having some sort of email marketing lead magnet. I can add that to the, actually I just have to upload my entire email playbook to Molo9. Okay, question for you guys. In January, we did a live Q&A on email marketing, but we were very high level. Would it be helpful to do a live Q&A, our next live Q&A, on email marketing lead magnets? Just, you can drop it into the comments, yes or no, to let me know, because maybe that'll be the next topic that we discuss. But I'll dive back into this. So if people come to your site and it's a high commitment, then you want to get them to leave their email so that you can put them on an email list, which is either your newsletter, you're giving them a cheat sheet, you're giving them a fact sheet, you're giving them a access to a free micro course, whatever you want to give them, that only someone in your target market would be interested in obtaining, so that when you get that email, it's a qualified email. It's not, oh, put in your email to get a free MacBook, because then everyone's going to put their email in. Let's see, if you have all of that, so if you have the ad that's getting people to click through, it's getting people to look at your site, and it's getting people to put their email in, but it seems kind of expensive to you, or you have it happening and suddenly the price spikes. Prices do spike around Christmas time for paid ads because there's a lot of competition. And prices tend to spike around different times of year depending on which niche you're in as well. So if you're selling books and you're buying ads to advertise your book selling platform or whatnot, prices will spike in January and September. If you are selling, if you're selling jewelry, flowers, chocolate, anything like that, prices will spike at Mother's Day, definitely around Christmas, and also Valentine's Day. But if prices are spiking and it's not because of some, like, the increase in competition for a specific type of, like, holiday or whatnot, then it's time to move to a different channel. As soon as I see, I'm channel agnostic. Everyone knows this. I'm very aggressive at protecting the revenue of my clients. Revenue growth is not just about growing a company, growing the user base and increasing the number of people that come into the company. It's also about playing, like, very, very, very aggressive defense with a company's bottom line. So if a channel is, if I see a spike in cost of acquisition on a channel and there's no, like, logical explanation for it, like it's November, December shopping season or something like that, I'm off that channel. Okay, yeah, bye. And I'm looking at, I don't know, 3 or 4 other channels at that point to figure out, like, which one we should be moving to. I do not lose sleep over it. I lose sleep over other things, usually a blitz scale. This is because we're doing a blitz scale for a project. but I just hop off that channel into another one because there's so many different channels out there. Things that you should look at if you are selling a product like an impulse item. There's something called the midlife crisis hour. And if you're selling in the US, it's from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. And that's where you'll see like the highest number of impulse buys. So if you're selling items that are something called the midlife crisis hour, I call it the midlife crisis hour. That's I found that specific time frame from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the US is one of the easiest times to sell like on with paid ads to sell things like impulse items, I like nootropics, supplements that are going to help someone get their edge back, courses that are going to help people change their lives, anything like that. You want to buy paid ads during that specific slot. If and the other time for impulse items, if you are selling like shiny things, that like a drunk girl would buy, scrolling while she's riding in a taxi home from a party, then Friday evenings, what is it, 11 p.m. to like 5 a.m. are really great as well. Depending on which city you're around, that's very geo-specific to cities, because in certain cities, or at least in the US, bars close at 11 p.m. and in other cities you can have someone partying until 6 a.m. But we found that selling like cheap jewelry during that hour, or selling like little gimmicky things like sparkly gym bag, sparkly water bottles, things like that, like those fun ads, putting them on Instagram, mainly Instagram, not so much Facebook and Pinterest, you get like really great sales. With the midlife crisis hour, it carries across Facebook, Pinterest, and sometimes Instagram, but more so Facebook and Pinterest. So those are a few time slots that I think are golden. I hope that helps you guys. As far as like specific other hours go, it's so dependent. Those two are like pretty broad and can fit a lot of different companies. The rest of those like little golden times, they change so frequently that I wouldn't want to tell you like this one or that one, this time or that time, because it shifts all the time. Like, for example, with email marketing, it used to be best to send your email newsletter on Tuesdays at 10 a.m. But then every marketer read that report and started sending them emails on Tuesdays at 10 a.m. And then that was the worst time to send an email. Then it became Fridays at like 9 a.m. And then it was Sundays at 1 p.m. So, like the midlife crisis hour of having people impulse buy from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m., that seems to have been pretty consistent over the past, I don't know, 7 years. This with email marketing, like sending an email to people to buy a specific thing at a specific time, that shifts just because every time there's a new report, everyone shifts to when they send their email. Let's see what else I can give you with paid ads. Drop in your questions if you have any questions, and I'm just going to try to think of what else I know that can help you improve your paid ads. Oh, there's one that I published to Molo9. There's two that I published to paid online. Okay, so here's how you do remarketing with paid ads after an email campaign. This is very, very, very effective. Shoppable pins for impulse items, shoppable pins on Pinterest. I worked with a company that 40% of their sales were made through shoppable pins on Pinterest, which means people can buy through one of those little pins right on the platform. Okay. Oh, another thing to keep in mind with paid ads is if there's an ability to comment on the paid ads, you want to have responding to those comments can actually drop the cost of your ads. So this is specifically for Facebook. Basically, Facebook's goal. All social media platforms have the same goal. They want to keep people on their platform for as long as possible, because they get more money the longer people are on the platform. Because what are they doing? They're monetizing people's attention. So if you have a page where when somebody writes a comment on one of your ads, you quickly respond to it, then you're going to notice that the cost for running your ads decreases. And that's because by engaging quickly with the Facebook audience, that's actually beneficial for Facebook. So they're going to decrease the cost of your ads. So if you do not have the budget for if you do not have the budget for somebody to sit there, a community engagement manager to sit there and respond to every single comment that comes to an ad, then what you want to do is turn on the ads and have them run when you're able to sit there and be able to quickly respond to any comments that come through. And the other thing is sometimes competitors will comment, or they'll write negative comments on an ad. Just delete it. Enough. Don't pick a fight with someone. Don't engage with them. Just delete it. If you take those courses, those litigation courses on how to slightly reword what somebody says to make them sound like an idiot, you can do that, but usually it bites you in the butt. Sometimes it's fun. I've done that before, and it's just not a good use of your time. There are things that you can do to actually grow your company instead of just sitting there and like getting into a pissing match with someone. So just if they write a negative comment about your ad, maybe it's feedback and you can take what they said with a grain of salt. Sometimes it's just a competitor using a fake account, and you should just delete it, move on. I think that's everything I have that I can remember off the top of my head for paid ads. Oh, this is another thing. So social media platforms, their algorithm can detect if you have product placement in a post that you're hoping to get organic reach for. So you can notice that you put up like posts of different inspirational quotes and images, and then when you put up a post of your product placement, it gets a fraction of the organic reach that the other post did. This is not something that you're doing wrong. This is their algorithms making sure that your product placements get lower reach. This is huge if you're using influencer marketing on Instagram and you're wondering why, like, a celebrity's picture of them drinking coffee got like 20,000 likes, but the celebrity's mini reel talking about your product only got like 2,000 views. It's not something the celebrity did wrong. It's something with their ranking algorithms that make sure that product placement get less views, because they want you to buy views for that. So they want you to pay for advertising so that those posts get more views. This is fine if the view count directly correlates to you getting more purchases, but oftentimes it's a vanity metric. My mom calls it jewelry. She'll say that like likes and upvotes and all of that on certain social media platforms, for her, they're vanity metrics. They're jewelry. They just make her company look better to prospective clients that are coming across. Now, there are other, like, jewelry is great to have. You don't need to have a collection of 3,000 diamonds to look like a good company. You may only need to have engagement or high view counts on a few platforms to look like a great company. If you notice, Molo9 is not across every single customer acquisition channel out there. We are not across every social media channel out there, because we don't need jewelry from every single jewelry dealer out there. This is true for most companies. You don't need to have those vanity metrics for every single social media platform out there. If you notice that when you pay for ads for a post on Instagram that wasn't getting the same organic reach as your other posts, if you notice that it leads to sales, great. If it does not convert to sales, then you're literally paying for jewelry that you may not even need to own. That's just something to keep in mind in the back of your head. Okay, so yes, I'm chugging coffee. Rough night. Let me know if you guys have any other questions. Otherwise, I think we're going to call it a day, and I believe I will see you on next week. Let me just double check. Thursday. Yep. Okay, so next week we have a live Q&A. The week after, the 22nd, it's a private group session, and then the 29th, it's a live Q&A here again. Excuse me. So that's how we're doing it. I might change it to have live Q&As consistently every Tuesday or Monday, just so you don't see me sleep deprived, because usually by Thursday I'm sleep deprived. Okay. So if you guys have no other questions, then I think I'm going to let you get back to your awesome days of growing your own companies, and I will talk to you later. Take care. Bye.